welcome to the Planning Board meeting for October 30th, 2025. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Upcoming meeting dates are November 20th, which is a Thursday, and December 16th, 2025. And I'm assuming, because it doesn't say Thursday, that one is back to the regular scheduled Tuesday on December. Great. We have minutes from the meeting of September 18th, 2025. Could I have a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, first item on the agenda is actually an adjourned public hearing. It's for Valley Christian Church. They've asked that we adjourn this further until the very next meeting, which will be on November 20th. Could I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing to November 20th?
So moved. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next item on the agenda is 4549 Foster Road.
Good evening. Steve Whalen of Whalen Architecture, representing the owners and the tenants of 45 and 49 Foster Road. Just to recap what our proposal is here, at 49 Foster Road, we're looking to renovate the interior of the second floor for some additional doctor's offices. And at 45 Foster Road, we're looking to change the occupancy from a single-family residence to a caretaker's residence. Both proposals, we're not increasing the footprint of either building. Everything is going to be completely interior. And actually, at the single-family residence, there's going to be no further work done.
Okay. And since we're here for a public hearing, I'll accept a motion to open the public hearing, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the public hearing is open. Questions or comments from board members? If not, questions or comments from our professional staff?
Sure. I think if you recall, the last meeting we had, and then actually we met with you separately, and we talked about the potential of, well, first of all, where the septic was located, because at one point we were discussing that since you were in front of us for a site plan amendment, and there has been past history of parking issues on the site, they do meet, let me just make this clear, they do meet the parking requirement that for zoning. They're changing to like storage space to medical space. Medical is historically has a very high parking need, parking demand. So typically we sometimes will see if it becomes a little bit too much medical office space on a site, we'll see parking issues. At some point in the past, prior to them making the parking lot improvements that currently exist at the site, they did have a parking issue. And there was some concern because there were people parking across the street at the complex across the street, and then maybe even some on Foster Road, which is really a residential road that is fronted by commercial. So, so that was in the past. Then they came back and they did some parking lot amendments and expansions, and they created additional parking. And now they have exactly the number of parking spaces they need to meet the parking demand for the proposed medical office use on the second floor and in all the other buildings. So the medical use, actually it's proposed medical or medical spa. I'm correct about that, right? Okay. I'm not that, we don't have a lot of history with medical spas, so we're sort of making the assumption that that would be a very similar parking demand as medical space, but it's kind of unclear at this point. But we talked about at the last meeting, and we just discussed it and let the applicant mull it over, was potentially land banking some parking, since there has been historic parking issues on the site. And there was an area that was open on the site in front of the Maselli house that could potentially include land bank parking, since they were in front of us for a site plan amendment anyway. We thought maybe if they threw it out, in the event that they needed the extra parking, they could just go ahead and construct it with a building permit rather than having to come back to the planning board. But at that time, we realized there was also an issue with some of the site plans that we had on file, and we have 3 different separate locations for the septic on the site. So we're not exactly sure where the septic is. I think there's been some concern that the septic may be in the location of where we would like to do, or like to potentially propose land bank parking. So we asked the applicant to please confirm where the parking is, or the septic is on the site. And I don't know what you guys have decided about doing land bank parking or not doing land bank parking, or what the planning board feels about potentially asking for land bank parking on the site. But that's kind of where we're at right now, I think. And then there were also there were a few minor violations in the existing parking lot. We did a site visit, went out, there's some striping, some handicap signage issues, and then there was some pedestrian striping located kind of directly behind some parking spaces that we wanted removed, all of which are relatively minor and can be fixed pretty easily. But we made a list of that and noted that and provided that to the professionals, so they'll have to do that as well. But those are the main issues on the site right now, and I'm not sure what your team has decided about moving forward with land bank parking or not, or where the septic's located, if you have any other information about that. But if you could just provide that to the board, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So even like later this afternoon, we were able to confirm where the septic fields are, and on the monitor behind you, so this is an updated site plan that you guys, we will resubmit this. It does address like all those site issues, like with the signage, the handicap, and using the correct symbol, and all those, those 12 comments that are on there. So we will address those. In addition to that, the septic fields are located, actually, it's in this like little island, which is right where that emergency access is. So our concern is that supposedly there's 2 fields that are there, or 2 sections of fields, is parking on top of them. I wouldn't want to damage them, even though they're land banked, like for future owners, or, if the planning board approves it, and then say 10 years from now, they go ahead and they put in asphalt parking over the top of it, that could damage it. So I'm a little leery of showing land bank parking there.
Are we talking about the fields, or are we talking about the tank?
The fields. Yeah, the tank is,
I don't know that you damage the fields. The tank, I'd be concerned about the roof of the tank if it falls within your parking area to make sure it's strong enough.
because I don't know, we don't have any documents to say like how deep those fields are. If they're just below,
I
I'm not
would
sure.
think if it's shown, then it could just be, up to you to work out those details with an engineer prior to actually installing it, but at least it's shown on the plan, and that would just be a detail you'd have to work
Okay.
out. Because I think that can be worked out.
Okay.
Or is there also still septic in front of the other building as well?
I believe so. I don't have, we discovered this like late this afternoon, so even the plan that's behind you is not 100% correct just yet.
Okay. So, that's basically, it's up to you. I really, in the event that they have an issue with parking in the future, they would probably get a violation from the town if people were parking on the street or parking off-site, and they could, at that point, come back to the planning board and apply for parking. It was just a suggestion that they might want to consider, since they were in front of us anyway. But ultimately, it's up to the planning board to decide whether or not they feel strongly enough about the land bank parking to require it, or if they feel like it's something that they could, leave it up to the applicant to determine whether or not they want to do it.
Can I just ask, if it's land banked, all they need to do is give us like a letter notification to proceed? How does that work if it's land banked?
Well, potentially, but if they're land banking it and they're going to come in and pave it, then I think they'd have to deal with maybe potentially stormwater and other things. And also, circulation, so it depends on what the land banking would entail.
Depends how much design they put into it right
Yeah.
now. But in theory, if it got approved,
In theory, if they got approved right now, they could just build it with a building permit, yeah. They would go in and get whatever they needed from the building department, and that's it.
How many structures are on the site plan?
There's 2 buildings, there's a shed.
In the Maselli house.
So the parking that is shown is acceptable for the entire site plan, including the Maselli house?
Correct. The Maselli house has 2 places in front of the house for parking for the house itself, and then the rest of the parking is for the 2 buildings, the 2 medical buildings.
And it's exact.
It's exact.
Because we were considering converting that residence into additional offices. That pushed us over. Now we got to go find, not even land bank, we have to actually put in additional parking. So we just,
And just so you know, there was parking issue prior to this with the exact parking that they needed for the
Existing.
with the existing amount of medical space that they had. I mean, one of the issues is, before this, the plaza across the street was more open. Now there's medical offices across the street. There's a children's medical group across the street now, so there's less parking, even if people were to park over there and walk across, which they're not permitted to do. But there's even less availability there now than there was.
Do all of the businesses have relatively the same hours?
I believe, you know their hours?
Mostly it's till 7 p.m. They open at 7 in the morning and they close at 7 p.m.
I mean, the other option, or the other thing that we have done with medical before, and this could come at a later date depending on what's going on with the parking, is we have allowed stacked parking for employees and some valet parking on medical sites. So that's also a possibility. We have done that, but that requires also some thought and consideration by the applicant as well, how they would do that, where they would do that. And, obviously, then they'd have to have an employee out there valeting.
So I guess my question then thereafter would be, if you're going to verify the septic field and the ability to potentially have land bank parking, wouldn't you feel more comfortable having that available rather than just being at maximum capacity?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if we can, I'll defer back to our, civil consultant, and if there's a way that, we can design,
Yeah.
future parking spaces, or maybe even put them in now, as long as it's not going to disrupt any of the
Sure.
sewage disposal system, then absolutely.
Yeah, I just think it would be more advantageous to you. At this point, you're going through all the motions here. I think to do that, if you could, probably be a good idea, in my opinion.
Yep, no, that's a great idea.
Okay. Other questions or comments by board members or professionals?
If I could,
Excuse me.
if I
Go ahead.
could. So I know they're kind of anxious. I think we've issued a demo permit, I believe. I don't know if you've started the demo. Okay, so you got a little time. You haven't started the demo yet. Okay. Whether or not we wanted to let them kind of proceed to some
Do something
extent,
conditional, maybe?
some extent while they work through this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Yes, David?
What's the location of the septic tank?
That, we're going to, when we resubmit this site plan, that'll be documented on here.
Is it going to be in any of the parking or driving areas?
I don't believe so. I know one of them, if I can zoom in on this. Bear with me 1 second.
One is right next to the house.
So there's one, and these are all approximate locations. There's one, and this is that access, like the gravel driveway right here. But we'll get that confirmed.
Oh, it's behind the driveway.
It's behind the driveway? Okay.
Close to the house, yes.
And my only concern is that it would need to be able to support the weight of our heaviest fire apparatus.
Absolutely.
They could always put a reinforced slab on top of the existing slab as long as it's concrete, not a metal tank. They could put a reinforced slab right over top of it.
Okay.
It's not near the driveway. It's all completely, one is close to building 49. Microphone. The other one is right in front of the little house, the caretaker's house.
Ma'am,
It's not in the
excuse me,
driveway.
do you
It's hard to
mind
hear
speaking into the microphone? Thank you.
Sorry.
One of the septic tanks is close to that caretaker's house. It's directly in front of it, and there's actually a wall that's been created to prevent it from anybody driving over it. And the other one is very close to building 49 in a grassy area. Also not under, the driveway is not near that one either.
Okay,
Great, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, I want to open it up to the public. Are there any members of the public here to speak for or against the project? Well, if not, then I think, so we just have the outstanding question of how additional parking might be provided for, whether it be land bank parking, and you're going to check that out. You'll also take a look possibly at stacked parking or valet parking, or all three. And if you could bring that back to the next meeting, I think then we could close things up and move forward.
All right, excellent.
Okay,
We have time to submit because it's already the 30th.
so it's already in public hearing. Notification has been put out, so we're talking about adjourning.
Submission time for the adjourned public hearing?
We have to even adjourn it.
I don't think there's an issue with timing as long as they get it in reasonably before the next meeting, so everyone
Okay.
has time to review.
Great. Okay. So I'll accept a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So
to
moved.
November 20th.
Sorry, so moved?
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
All right, excellent, thank you.
Yes, we'll look forward to hearing from you next month. Okay, next item on the agenda is Ridges at Stormville Mountain subdivision. And as we prepare to hear about that, I'll accept a motion to declare lead agency.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, you already answered my first question about lead agency, so. I'm Amy Patain, project planner with the LRC Group, here for the Ridges at Stormville Mountain Road. We were last in front of the board in June, so there have been some changes, so I'll just give a brief overview and go over those changes. So the previous layout included an 11-lot subdivision for single-family homes. With discussions with the board during the meeting, there was mention of, questions of what we were doing with the neighbors regarding the encroachments for the proposed Lot 11, which is this larger lot down here. With those conversations, it's led to our new layout. Just going over the existing conditions. So the project now involves 20 Stormville Mountain Road, 15 Van Brook Drive, and 24 Van Brook Drive. The existing acreage for 15 Van Brook Drive is 1.26, and 24 Van Brook Drive is 3.47. In discussions with the neighbor, the previously proposed Lot 11 is essentially going to be split between the two, which will increase each lot will be modified and increase the acreage. 15 Van Brook will be 4.38, and 24 Van Brook will be 14.87. And then for the new layout for the subdivision, it'll include 10 new residential lots for single-family homes to be served by septic and well. I'll turn it over to Brittany for engineering.
Good evening. My name is Brittany Shakely. I'm the project engineer. So the layout has pretty much stayed, in terms of where the house locations are, have pretty much stayed the same. The one change that we have made is Lot 1, which is the one closest to the intersection at Stormville Mountain Road. We've shifted the driveway so that it's going to meet the requirements of 120 feet at least from the intersection. So now we're going to have a bridge over crossing the existing stream that's on the site. And it's going to be able to withstand fire trucks, so it's going to be H20 loaded, and there's not going to be any disturbance to the stream. It's just going to be bank to bank. We've also gone through and designed all the septic layouts, so all the septic are going to be either fill pads or in-ground. By eliminating that one Lot 11, we are now only at 4.5 acres of disturbance. So we're not going to be increasing or required to do any SWIP or stormwater management practices. However, we have modeled the existing culvert that's underneath of Stormville Mountain Road. And based on our proposed development, there's only a minor increase in the elevation of storm events, so there's not a significant increase in what our development is going to be creating. With that creation, we're only increasing the impervious area by only 0.75 acres of impervious, so it's very minimal anyways. And all of that just goes into the existing stream that's on site. We will be submitting to Department of Health with all of the design septic systems, so that is going to be forthcoming.
Okay. Questions by board members?
How many acres per dwelling?
So the lot sizes range from, I believe it's 2.01 to a little over 5.27 for the new lots.
Other questions or comments?
Yeah, how are you going to deal with the steep slopes that go along the right side of Stormville Mountain Road there?
Which area are you concerned about? You said along Stormville Mountain, like this area?
If you make the left off of 52 and you go into Stormville Mountain Road, the section past the creek going up the hill.
So this section right by proposed lot 2?
Yep.
Yep.
So where the house is situated is outside of the steep slope, so we're proposing minimal disturbance in that area. Obviously, when this site drops down into the site, we're going to have to create a driveway, so we're going to fill a little bit in there, but we're going to grade it at a slope that's not going to be erosive or anything like that.
Okay. Questions or comments from our professionals?
Yeah, just a couple comments. The survey you're using, is that a hard survey or just like GIS survey?
It was surveyed, so it's a boundary survey, but it was flown by aerial.
Just by aerial?
Yes,
Because we know with aerial it can fluctuate.
correct.
Okay. All right, so a couple things. As far as the SWIP, you mentioned the 4.5 acres. Concern I have, big picture, is you have these lines drawn, tucked around every little bit of disturbance.
I don't have that one.
In one case, you're 4 feet off the edge of the house. And I really don't know from a practical matter how you can construct a house when your disturbance limit's only 4 feet away. So what we don't want to run into is later on, as you progress, it's not realistic to stay within these confines, okay? Because they're going to make you flag them all out and fence them all out. And you've got these little meandering sections in some places to get your well rig in, et cetera. Where are you stockpiling the soil? Again, if your disturbance limit's right behind the house, you have a detail that shows the stockpile behind the house. Well, you can't put it there. Where are you going to put it? So I think we really got to take a hard look at this disturbance limit because I don't believe it's really reasonable. I think you're just cutting it way, way too close. You got a 40-acre site, 10 homes, and to think you're just going to disturb 4.5 acres, I don't think is realistic.
Yeah, I can take a look at it and see if we can add like a buffer on each of the houses, so maybe we go 15 or 20 feet off the edge of the houses and give
Because
it
what's
some
going
more.
to happen is you go over, the contractor says, hey, I can't build this. We're just kicking this can down the road. And if these lots get split up, sold to different people, which is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back to go over to 5 acres, it's going to be a mess at some later point. So I really think that needs to be really looked at.
Yep, I can take a look at that.
That's one of your big things. I know Rennie had pointed out on the computations for the flow through the culvert, you looked at your site, but you didn't incorporate the whole watershed. That's in his letter, so you'll have to take a look at that. The driveways, we're going to want to see some real profiles of these driveways, because in other cases, we've had problems, again, down the road where the plot plan comes in, it's hard to meet the grade, and if you're just relying on flyovers and not hard survey, that could create a problem, and again, that could increase your disturbance limits. So I think in this case, because you have some steep slopes, you do really need to look hard at the driveways. And then I know you spoke about the site distance off the driveways. HVA says you need a little more information to establish your position that you meet the site distance, so.
Yep, we can add a label to each of the distances to show that we're meeting at least 300 feet that we have.
I have a couple, just a couple questions. One, I think you said that you're not anticipating any wetland impacts or disturbance to the stream. You're going to try to, the bridge that you're creating, you're going to try to avoid the wetland and stream impacts because it is a federal wetland or stream. My other question is, I think it was lot 4, but I'm not remembering exactly which number it was, that it's shown that the house is kind of being placed outside the building envelope, and I'm not sure if that was just a mistake
It was
with
an
the...
error.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be adjusted.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was... Those are my two.
Okay, if there are no other questions or comments, we could schedule you for a public hearing if you think you'll be ready for that.
Yeah, could we do the December meeting?
Surely could. That will give you more than enough time then to get the notices out and everything.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I'll accept a motion to schedule a public hearing for the applicant for our December 16th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We'll
Thank
see
you
you
very
then.
much.
Thank you. And the next item on the agenda is a sketch plan for Hopewell Oaks.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Frank Villano. I'm here for Hopewell Oaks. I apologize, I messed up the time for last month, and I was at 6 o'clock. I got here a little late. That being said, we're here in front of you for a concept plan for 1486 Route 82. Our hope is that we transform the dilapidated fish market. It's been there in disrepair for quite some time. We're all familiar with it. In fact, my wife and I were going to look at the house that was for sale above it, and that was the reason why we didn't buy the house. So we're hoping to change the entire area with the addition of 5 beautiful apartment buildings that are in one apartments with one building, stand corrected. We did have comments from the engineer. I think right now our biggest hurdle is the fact that since it was the mixed-use rezoning that's available to go from new apartments that are purely residential, they would have to be an existing structure, and there's, you know, I've inspected the structure, and the foundation just couldn't support something that would be any benefit to put any kind of residential units in it. So we're asking the board for a leniency on the requirement that it be a new structure for residential. We looked at the area surrounding it, and there's a lot of professional, medical, and I think that that area is saturated. So to add another medical building in that area, I don't think it's a benefit to anyone. But as far as 5 units, the septic system would be new. The parking is going to be located in the closer to the street. The building's going to be located closer or further from the street, which doesn't make it as crowded. For stormwater management, we'll have the Caltex underneath the parking area. That way there's no net runoff. As far as the storms that we've been getting pretty bad storms like today, pretty common.
Do you want me to give you a little background on this?
So yes, there's been quite a bit of history, I think, on the building with the planning and engineering departments, right?
Correct. And there is a special permit that the applicant is hoping to take advantage of to redevelop the site, and it's called a mixed-use redevelopment special permit. Problem is, there are a few requirements in the special permit that it will be difficult for the applicant to meet. And I'll just explain that the intent of the special permit was to take buildings that were located in commercial areas and redevelop these buildings that may have laid fallow for a while because they were largely commercial buildings that have been put into residential locations. There's several of them throughout the town, and they haven't been able to be redeveloped commercially. And the intent of the special permit was to allow them for economic development purposes to be redeveloped and hopefully improve the appearance and the neighborhood by allowing the redevelopment of these with very low traffic, kind of low intensity commercial, like an office, and potentially allow some sort of residential, like second-story residential use along with it, with requirements that the special permit lays out. And in this particular case, the lot is, I think it's exactly about an acre.
Yep.
So it's pretty contained. And the idea also was that the existing buildings, you wouldn't be able to take down a building and rebuild something. It would have to be a reuse of an existing building. And that is so that, in part, it would contain what could be constructed there, and it wouldn't change the character of the neighborhood significantly. Like, you couldn't have a site that had, in this case, it's only an acre, but there are other sites that are larger, and you wouldn't be able to come in, take out the existing building, and build a larger building there. The intent was for the site to be reused and fixed up. So the requirements that they are not able to meet are, one, that there's supposed to be some sort of mixed use, because it is considered a mixed use redevelopment special permit. So there's supposed to be some sort of commercial use incorporated into the building. And they are not supposed to be able to take the building down. They're supposed to reuse the existing structure. So those are the two main things. I also think on this site, there's some constraints with regards to, I think there's drainage or a stream that's along one side that constrains the parking and makes it difficult in one location to add a lot of parking. So I think one of the issues here is that whatever they put here, they're going to have a limited number of parking spaces that can go along with it, because it's a pretty small area that they can use for parking. So those are the major concerns. And I think you're asking them to consider, what are your asks? That you consider
Sure.
not allowing them to remove?
Both the points that you had brought up, the mixed use and the commercial use, we'd prefer just residential. It has a better appeal as far as just residential, in a residential area. There is a lot of mixed use along the Route 82 in that area, but to add more mixed use, it's our preference to just stick with residential. The drainage ditch that's existing along the west side of the site, we'd look into rerouting it. It would be a process with the DEC, but we understand that. But it's more of a seasonal ditch rather than a creek or anything like that. Today, I'm sure it's getting its fair share of runoff, but on an average day, I don't believe it has too much. So it's usually more along the stormwater for precipitation events and limited to that. As far as the other ask that we have is that we can not reuse the building, because the building is not structurally safe. The foundation's not adequate to even build a stick frame commercial mixed use anything on. It's dated, it's been left for quite some time without repair. So to reuse that building, it's more dangerous than as far as repairing it. And I don't see any benefit to staying in that footprint very close to Route 82. And the fact that we're trying to push it back and keep the same overall footprint size, we believe is a benefit to the community.
So just to be clear, the idea here is that you're going to eliminate the building in its entirety, eliminate its foundation, and build a completely new structure in a different position on the site.
And correct on all of those, and trying to keep it within the same footprint as far as the area in plan view.
So that would require, or I'm assuming that you'd be redoing the septic, everything would be...
Correct. The existing septic is shown on the 1979 subdivision map as a circle, and we don't know what it is. It has no benefit.
All right.
So is there some issue with going to the zoning board to get the zoning changed to residential, since you got the big development across the street from there? I would imagine that would be a case that could be made.
Sorry, our understanding is with the special mixed-use permit that we would be able to avoid that and keep this all within the planning board.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. If you go there, then
I was
we don't have to do
reading it
that.
now, and I think if they were keeping the building as is, because section G says, the planning board at its discretion may waive the requirement for commercial uses and permit residential use to occupy up to 100% of an existing building.
Right.
If it is determined the site is incompatible with commercial use. So you'd have to make a determination it's incompatible with commercial use, and you'd have to keep the existing building. If you're gonna knock the building down, I think you have to go to the zoning board to actually get relief.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
why
I'm
it
thinking.
is.
If you get it rezoned as residential, then we don't have to do anything with the special permit, and you can do whatever you want on it.
My understanding was that I had to go to the planning board, get rejected, and then we're allowed to go.
All right,
It's more than just
understand.
residential, it's multifamily, it's not just residential.
Right.
Now it's
Right, and
multifamily.
they don't have the ability to necessarily rezone, but they could offer relief on certain requirements in the code.
Yeah.
So it's zoned currently R1,
Yes,
and that, what's permitted under R1?
single-family home.
One unit. And you're requesting 5.
On 1 acre, you're saying. So the fish market existed in there together with anything else? Were there living spaces above that? or-
It's before my time, but I don't believe there were.
Yeah.
No, I think the family,
I think
the family.
Family did there? Okay.
There was.
There's a two-bedroom apartment in the back.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember there was some kind of living space there. Okay.
So what are the two
Is there a
requirements
ratio?
that they're asking really for? The building being knocked down and not reusing the building. What's the other one?
They don't want to do commercial use. They don't want to make it mixed use.
Got it.
Residential.
Residential use.
But it could be a lawyer's
Multifamily
office, it
residential.
could be professional use, it doesn't have to be medical necessarily, right?
No, it doesn't. It can be any general office, professional office, medical, and home office with a single, okay, that's just a home office. So it's general office or professional office or medical.
Do you have a plan for the building that you want to build there?
We have floor plan layouts that were in there that are just schematic, just to show relative size. We don't have any renderings or anything like that. Of course, this is just the beginning of where our biggest hurdle is, what we were asking for those two, the mixed-use commercial and the non-reuse of the building.
And your
I haven't looked
oh,
at
I'm
the
sorry.
proposed plan, but just judging from the way that it's such a tight site and the way the building's located, I think there will also be dimensional variances that are
Sure.
going to need to be as
Well,
well
that's what I was
in
going
order
to
to
say
make the
from a
building
height
fit on the
requirement
site.
too. Like, are you talking of proposing a 2-story?
Correct.
Building?
I believe we met all of the current setbacks, and as far as where we laid out
Heights,
the
yeah.
building, that was my primary goal, was to stay within the setback envelope.
And there was enough space to do a septic for that many apartments?
So the way I broke it down, instead of, it's 2 septic systems that have separate tanks, there's completely 2 separate systems. Any more than the 5 units, we would require to go to the health department as a full-fledged wastewater treatment system. So we're right at the edge of that, but the 2 systems have worked in previous designs that I've done, and we do have the real estate for that.
And how many bedrooms in each apartment are you
2.
proposing?
Correct.
So 5 2-bedroom apartments?
But even if he gets the residential, it's still zoned for single-family home, right?
Correct.
But the special permit would allow him potentially to
Understood.
modify that.
But
That's if you use the existing building, so the
Right.
rub is taking it
The
down.
existing
That's the rub.
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
If he was, what would the maximum number of units be?
Have you calculated how many units you could get under the existing building?
In the existing building, we didn't do that because of, it's close in size to footprint, but it has different levels of foundations that don't accommodate really working together. In all honesty, how it's survived this long is kind of gravity.
Is it
hasn't-
technically condemned? Does the building department have any, it's
The
condemned?
building department asked
We
them
haven't gone that far because they responded. We made an inquiry about the structural stability. They responded, so we've been kind of letting
Held
them
off
figure
to
out what they want
this.
to do. Yeah.
We've also added fencing around it to make it safe to the public.
Yeah.
We're trying to get this moved forward if possible.
Lori?
So I'm sorry, just to finish, my question, the purpose of my question was to find out what you could build if you were going to use this building. Not, I'm understanding you're saying it can't be done, but if it could be done, what would be the number of units based on the building you have right now?
It would probably be close to the same 5. So we're taking advantage of the fact of the topography that when it steps back in the back part, it's only 1 story.
So you're going to have 2 levels or 5 one-story apartments? Like, are they townhouse?
I'm not quite understanding the question.
Like garden-style apartments where each apartment is just one level itself? Or will there be stairs inside the apartment, like living on the main
Oh, no,
floor
it's-
and bedrooms on the
Sorry,
second
so
floor?
it's a unit downstairs and a unit upstairs with a stairway on the side. So each has their own access.
So Michelle, if we were using the building and we, as a board, agreed we'd waive the commercial use, the 5 units would be permissible under this permit?
Only if-
Subject to parking,
Yeah.
septic, all those other things.
Right.
I'm just trying to make sure we're not, if we said, no, 3 would be the max, then I just want to make sure we're not
Spinning our wheels.
even considering something that just wouldn't happen under the special permit, even with an existing building.
Have you looked at any other options other than,
Well, we've looked at the mixed use, and I drive, just like most of you do, we drive this daily, and there's a lot on the road when you go more towards Taconic that some vacancies that have been vacant for a while, and we don't want to go down that road. I believe that the mixed-use part of it and the medical is kind of saturated over there. I haven't explored offices, but the residential seems to be in keeping with the area.
Are any properties in the general area anything other than residential? Like how far down do you have to go to get to the next commercial?
Up around the corner towards the Taconic.
Right.
Yeah,
Quarter mile, maybe quarter to a half mile.
towards the Taconic.
Towards the Taconic.
Like where-
I would say
Then you have
it's
to go all the
mostly
way back the
residential
other
uses.
way, Right?
Yeah, surrounding it. Residential,
It is,
Seems
especially right across the street is,
Yeah, there's a big
is
development there.
Neighborhood.
Is there anything, I'm trying to think of that magnitude of use that you're doing now in that vicinity? Are there any types of 2-story apartment type buildings out that way? I don't think so.
I don't think there's
Or
anything.
mostly residential homes, would you say?
It's all
I think so.
residential.
Primarily single-family.
We're also looking at improving some landscaping and some screening. Because there are a couple houses up from the original subdivision, and another house that was not part of the subdivision that's existing that we'd like to screen that area. It's not shown on the plan yet, we didn't get that far, but definitely evergreens, and plantings along Route 82, and just to bring up the overall character of that area because it's been defunct for a very long time.
Oh, that's commercial.
Yeah, it definitely sticks out when you're driving down the
Yeah,
road.
it's surrounded by single-family residents,
Yeah.
you know, left,
Completely.
and right, yeah.
Yeah, it's all single family, that's why I asked.
So the 1 acre that's the fish market, is that currently, it is 2 lots right now, or are you?
No, that's a single lot.
It's less than a quarter acre.
It's more of a flag lot that goes up around the back that has the 2 other lots.
So the closest commercial is 2/10 of a mile.
Say it again?
The closest commercial is 2/10 of a mile.
Which is like 1,000 feet.
That's towards the Taconic, right?
And that's LaGrange Dental, right?
Yeah, like right next to Cranberry, yeah.
Yes.
Which looks
I
like a
think you're
house.
going to need a variance from, from the, anything that's outside of the hamlet area on a state road needs a 100-foot setback.
Outside of which area, I'm sorry?
Anything that's outside a hamlet area on a state road needs a 100-foot setback. So I think you're also going to need a variance from that, but that would,
And that would be a DOT? That would be from the,
it's in
all right,
this,
so-
you have to look, you can find it, it's in the footnote of the Schedule A in the code,
Okay.
bulk regs. Okay. It's going to be
So
footnote 11.
Okay.
125.
So is one of the options here, since this is a 7-acre site, to lay out?
1 acre.
It's only 1 acre.
Well, but I'm looking at the site dimension, and I see a second lot that's 6 acres and 1 lot that's 1 acre. Am I not understanding?
It's 2 separate lots. It's all on the 1.04.
It's all in the
I think
one.
back in 1979, it was divided into,
So I'm just looking at your your site picture looks like it's the entire site. Is that incorrect?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's incorrect.
I don't know if it's incorrect.
This one, and then here it is where this other existing dwelling is.
Okay, so your application is not for the entire parcel that's shown in the site picture in the area map? You should be showing both parcels?
Not following.
It's just the 1 acre parcel. Just the 1 acre.
So that needs to be corrected. So what I was going to say is, why couldn't we just lay out a regular conventional subdivision?
So it's just the 1.04 acres?
Yeah, what it is, she's right, because
Well,
right here, you're showing the whole thing.
Obviously, you've got a number of hurdles to overcome. We would love to be able to help you figure out a way and encourage you to improve that property. But I think we've got some legal issues, as pointed out by counsel, with regards to the need to reuse the existing building if you're going to take advantage of the special permit exception. And looking at the zoning as it currently exists and considering the surrounding area, I think 5 units of apartments is going to be too much for us to go for.
Okay. As far as the next route that we should go, would it be the zoning board matter, or can we keep it within the planning board?
What do you think?
Yeah, and then the only other thing is I just want to, I know you touched on it a little bit, I just want to make sure we're, there, because that drainage ditch, I believe is going to be, I think DEC is going to take control of that. I don't know that for certain, but I suspect it might because it drains a DEC wetland in the back, so I think they may, this is the location of it right here. And I think it's not showing up as a wetland, but the DEC, it's connected, and I followed it. So I think they're going to take it. But I don't know that for certain, so I think that also is an important thing to get clear before you go really much further, because it really will constrain what you can do with regards to parking, and maybe even the septic and everything, because I don't know how they're going to look at that wetland resource.
Okay.
They may, if you're lucky, say it's not part of their jurisdiction, but I don't know what they're going to do. So that might be something that you really want to clear up before you really go
Okay,
much further with design.
I'll discuss that with them.
So from the
forward with that.
perspective of the special permit, the planning board has the ability to offer relief on taking the building down?
I didn't see any relief
No.
in there.
The only thing that the planning board has the discretion to waive is based on the special permit. The commercial piece of it.
Got it.
On an existing building.
On an existing building. On an existing building. That's the other issue. Okay. So
So
the
we have no ability to offer any relief on taking the building down as part of the special permit?
Correct.
Got it. So their process could only be to rezone the property in order to take the building down?
Rezone, I wouldn't necessarily use the word rezone. I think the next step probably would be, just, you go back, talk with your team, and then you set up a pre-application meeting with staff. I mean, you already made an application here, but it would be before a more formal application, because then I really think you have to go to the zoning board. If you're hard set on tearing down the building, you think that's the only path forward, you're gonna have to go to the zoning board, and you'll have to get a denial letter from the building department. And I'll be honest too, I don't know if that right now is a use variance or an area variance, and a use variance is very, very difficult to get.
But could he at least apply to demolish the building? Could they just strictly start, because they have to anyway, but is there a way for them just to do that?
They can take out a demo permit.
I mean, that might be a good, and again, this is just my opinion, it'd be a start to get to a place that you may find. But at this stage, you've determined already that the building is completely useless and really dangerous. So to me, I would really start by going and applying to the building department to demolish the building to the ground, because you know regardless, you have to start from that point and then go forward from there. So I just,
Does
you know.
that preclude any of the grandfathered rights, though, from the fact that it had a commercial building, if you take the commercial building?
They don't
Well, it
have,
hasn't been in use for a year, so
they've lost their non-conforming status, yeah.
Right,
All taking down the building is then they wouldn't be reusing the existing building, so then, at least the way the code's written, they'd lose their rights to apply under the special permit
Also,
without getting relief from the ZBA.
also, right now, you've got a grandfathered front setback, which I believe you're going to be subject to the 100 feet, and you're only 34 feet from 82. Right now, if you reuse the existing building, you wouldn't need that variance, the area variance. So there's some things for you to think about, I think, with regards to how you want to proceed.
Is there any section of the old building that could be salvaged and incorporated into a, turn it more into a renovation versus a complete tear down? Is there any portion of it you can say?
I could look into that. The rear part of it has good parts, bad parts. The front part is what's the real primary concern structurally. But we might be able to save foundation wall area and, portions of 2 walls. I don't know if that's a benefit.
Is any of it steel structure, or is it all wood frame?
It's all wood. It's all timber framed.
Is there any limit to how much building they can leave?
I don't think
I don't think it specifies.
no, it was really to reuse, but I think there is in our code, I have to look at that, I think there is in our code a differentiation of when it's an alteration and when it's a full.
In terms of
I can
percentage.
look at that and
Percentage of what
potentially, yeah, it's a percentage,
Yeah.
exactly. So we can see if that might apply here, I'm not sure, I'd have to look at that.
And without the special permit, they can't do a multifamily unit,
Without a
is that
special
correct?
permit, they can do a single-family home there.
And that's it?
Anything that's allowed in a single-family district, and that's pretty much it, yeah.
So I guess you take everything,
Professional office or something like that.
yeah.
If we were to save one wall and one foundation wall, is that considered the renovation?
I'd have to look at the code. I could do a little research for you and see if we could I can work with you.
All
to
right,
see
I
if
think, because obviously there are a lot of moving parts here too, and just on the fly, that there are other sections of our code that speak to this. I know we don't want to give you a wrong answer now.
Understood. No, I appreciate it.
Is this the R1 area where it's 1 unit per acre, or is, it is?
That's what
not the three?
R1 is.
Yeah, R1.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the input.
We wish you the very best on this and hope that you can possibly come back and see us again.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Love to see
Take
that
care.
change out there.
So we have one item from the floor to add to the agenda tonight. It's a letter amendment being requested by Trump National Golf Club. And the letter says, "Dear Planning Board, I'm requesting a minor site plan amendment to add a monument sign to the Trump National Golf Course parcel at the corner of Route 216 and Stormville Road. We have provided the Planning Department with a survey showing the location of the sign and have received approval from the New York State DOT with regards to site distance and location of the sign. We'll be applying for a sign permit through the Building Department." So assuming that we are in favor of this, I will tell you that we can waive the public hearing because this is a minor action.
Did they give any rationale of why that's needed? I mean, when you drive down 216 and you see the driving range there, you kind of know it's a golf course, but I don't know why
Hard to
they would
see
need
the
sign.
driving range from 216.
And I think a lot of people come
Pretty
from
good
out of the
screen.
area.
I go by there all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I think,
If you're looking for it, you see it. If you're looking for it.
Sure, and if you know it's there, you know it's there. But if you're coming from out of the area, you don't know that's there. It could be
I'm
anything.
making the left off of 216 on Stormville Road on an almost daily basis, so I see
It's ingrained in your memory.
I see.
so I do believe that that was the reasoning they were concerned about when they have events, people from out of the area locating the golf course.
I can understand why they would want to announce the location. It is a type 2 action, so no seeker is required, and they still will have to meet all of the requirements of our sign ordinance, right? So any discussion, any concerns or questions about it?
I think as long as it looks like the other one, it'd be great.
If not, if everybody is okay with that, I'll present a resolution of amended site plan approval. Name of the site plan is Trump National Golf Course. Name of applicant, Trump National Golf Course, Dutchess County LLC, 178 Stormville Road. Resolution offered by Planning Board member John Eichman. Whereas the applicant is seeking a minor amendment to the site plan to add a monument sign at the corner of Route 216 and Stormville Mountain Road. Whereas
Stormville Road, it's different.
amend this, say, just Stormville Road.
Sorry.
Whereas the applicant, thank you, whereas the applicant has received an approval from the New York State Department of Transportation for the location of the sign with regards to site distance, whereas the applicant has provided the planning office a copy of a survey showing the location of the proposed monument sign, whereas the action is a minor amendment to the site plan and the planning board has waived the requirement for a public hearing, whereas the action is considered a type 2 action under seeker, no further seeker review is required. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board approves the addition of a monument sign at the corner of Route 216 and Stormville Road as depicted on a map of survey for the lands of Trump International Hudson Valley prepared by Robert V. Oswald, Land Surveying, dated June 20th, 2025, and subject to the following conditions. Number 1, a sign permit from the building department. Be it further resolved that within 5 business days of the adoption of this resolution, the chair or other duly authorized member of the planning board shall cause a copy of this resolution be filed with the town clerk and a copy sent to the applicant owner. Could I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Board Member Lori G.
Aye.
Ed Miyoshi.
Aye.
Sarah Bledsoe.
Aye.
Richard Campbell.
Abstain.
Donald Pepe.
Aye.
John Giavagnoli.
Aye.
And John Eichman, I'm an aye. So we are all ayes with 1 abstention. It passes. So I think that completes the agenda for tonight's meeting. I want to wish everybody a happy Halloween. Keep your children safe and have a good time. So I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.